working those shoulders, I get so many questions on how we can tone up our arms and look good in those strapless dresses. So if you are training for your wedding, or if you just want to look good in a tank top or a bikini over the spring and the summer on spring break, then this is the workout for you. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through the workout, and then you can repeat this circuit as many times as you'd like. I like to call this a giant circuit, meaning you start from the very top of the exercises, you go through every single exercise back to back, and then you repeat it as many times as you want. Your shoulders are such a small muscle group. This is a great exercise to add on the end of your leg day, or maybe on your active recovery day when you're doing abs or you're going out for a walk. It would be a perfect addition to any other exercise. If you're already a member of the Fit Cycle, you can find this exact workout written by going to the Resources tab inside your app. Now, let's talk about how you choose weights. I get this question quite often. So whether you're doing a shoulder workout or you're doing a leg workout, when you're doing resistance training, I guarantee you can lift heavier than what you think you can. And so the way to gauge that is, let's say for this first exercise, we're gonna be doing a shoulder press. So when I'm doing my shoulder press, I wanna choose a weight where the last 2 reps are very, very difficult, but I can still use good form and I'm still targeting the right muscle. Once you start adding in accessory muscles, or you are really putting strain on your back or other muscles that shouldn't be working, that's when you know you're too heavy and you need to drop down. It's totally okay if you get to rep 6 and you're like, you know what, I started out too heavy, I need a drop set. So just drop your weight and you're perfectly fine. But the goal here to really grow those muscles is hypertrophy. And so you almost want to take your muscles into failure, which doesn't mean like rip them apart, but it means that those last 2 reps of that exercise are very, very difficult, but you can still do it with good form. All right, ladies, let's get started in working out those shoulders. The key here is you want your feet to really be in line with your shoulders. You want your shoulders to be over your wrists, and you don't want to be wobbling side to side. So you don't want to be switching your weight. Whew, just those 2 exercises and I am out of breath. But you don't want to be wobbling your weight back and forth like this. Not what you want to do. What you want to do is, if your core isn't quite strong enough to be on your toes, base for you to be able to pick up one arm and tap the other. Also, you want to remember is you're really wanting to stay in a plank form the whole entire way. You don't want your booty up in the air, and you don't want to be sagging your abs. Once you start that sag and you start to lose that good form, you're going to want to go down to your knees or try and modify. Next is one of my absolute favorite shoulder workouts. It's the upright row. Now, when you are doing this, you want to make sure that you pull back your shoulders and pull them down so that you're not putting tension on your neck and trying to pull that up. So, you can see, you want to, when you're holding the weights, and I'll do it here in just a second, you're going to pull back, up, and down. So now I've got a long spine, a long neck, and you're going to want to take your elbows out to the walls beside you. So it's like you're pushing the walls with your elbows, and you're pulling and using your shoulder muscle to pull that up. So you don't just want to be going really fast. Make sure that you're really connected with your mind to the muscle that you're working so that you can make sure that you're really working that muscle. So I'm going to start out to the side. You'll see I'm going to go up and back. And so you can see it kind of gives me a proud chest. And so then what I'm going to do, I'm going to scoot over here just a second. I'm going to push out. I'm going to push the camera with my elbow. So I can really feel it in my shoulders and that delt. Just be sure to be slow and controlled. We're gonna do, how many we do? I think we're doing 20 of every exercise. So what you're not gonna be doing is this, right up here, with bent wrists. That's not a good form. Up, shoulders up, and back, and push the walls out with your elbows. And you can really feel it at the top and squeeze and go an extra ½ inch at the top. And slow and controlled down. There's just as much resistance on the way down as there is on the way up. Yeah. The next thing that we're going to do, this might be an exercise where you will need to drop down the weight because you don't want to be swinging your back and using that back to try and get these weights up in the air. But this is going to be the high V reverse fly. There's a couple different ways you can do it. You can do it bent over, and if you're working on building up your weight, you can bend over and do one at a time, or you can do both. One thing that I like to do is I like to, again, roll my shoulders back and down, and I like to do a high V, almost like if you're a cheerleader, you'll know, but and controlled. Okay, my shoulders are up, back, neutral spine. I'm not using momentum to get these in the air. I'm using my muscles. It's okay to have a slight bend in the elbow. You're gonna do 20 of those. The exercise, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a lateral raise to a closure, come back down, lateral raise to a closure. Now, I wanna show you here with a lateral raise, I'm leading with my elbows, but that doesn't mean that I'm like that. I just am leading up with the sides of my elbows. There. And you also, with this, whether you can do straight with a slight bend, so you can see there I have a slight bend. You don't have to be like this. I actually recommend having a slight bend. And then you're gonna be, with your palms of your hand, think of pushing the walls on the side out and away from you. So lead with your elbows, push the walls away, and come to the middle. Again, we don't want to put any strain on our back, or on your neck. So before you start, roll your shoulders back with that weight in your hand, pull your spine down, and then begin. When you start to feel strain in your neck, you might need to decrease your weight a little bit. So we're gonna do 20 of these. These are gonna get heavy. So here we go. Right, so you can see there that I was a little ambitious and I thought that I would be able to lift 12 pounds. I'm still working on building up the strength in my shoulders. Again, they're small muscles, so give yourself some grace if you can't lift as heavy as somebody else. So what I did is I actually grabbed these 8-pound weights. They're not as pretty, but it'll be better for my neck, my back, my form, and my shoulders. So again, I'm gonna roll my shoulders back, bring them down, and begin. Slow and controlled in every moment of the movement. Make sure that it's a fluid movement. If you need to modify, it's absolutely okay to just do lateral raises. Just remember the same cues, and then just forward raises. Try not to, I see a lot of people using momentum to get the weights up. I prefer that you just stand still and let your muscles do the work. All right, so 20 of these, and then we're moving on to the next move. All right, so the next move, I always like to sprinkle in just a little bit of non-traditional cardio whenever you're working these muscles to get your heart rate up and to get the blood flowing into those muscles. So now we're gonna do what's called a half burpee. There's a couple different ways that you can modify this. Anytime that you're doing burpees or anything with jumps, feel free to take out the jump. Feel free to just do a step and do what you can and work up to maybe doing one regular way and then the rest modified. So there's all kinds of different ways that you can do it. So this is actually a half burpee. We are gonna do 20. Let's go. So you want to do 20 of those and then move on to the next exercise. All right, now for one of my absolute favorite traditional ways to work really your entire upper body is push-ups. So we're going to do 20 here. Now, I understand most of us probably aren't quite at the level of reaching up to 20 push-ups yet. That's totally fine. I'm going to show you how you can modify. So when you're getting ready for your position, I'm actually going to do a push-up kind of like I'm against the wall. You really want your arms at a 45-degree angle. You don't want them out like this. You don't want them like in front of you. You just want them at a 45-degree angle. So what that would look like is this. If my hands were on the ground, this is what it would look like. Okay, so that's where you want your placement, right at your shoulders. Now, you do not want your body arcing and you don't want your booty in the air. So if you have to go down to your knees just like this, that's perfectly fine. So I'm gonna show you a normal push-up and then I'll show you how you can modify. The key here is when you modify and you go to your knees, you want to keep your toes on the floor. So, push-up position. You do not want to be like this and you don't want to be like this. You just want to start in that plank position. Shoulders over your wrists and go down and back up. All right, ladies, you can end it there, or I recommend going through that circuit 2 or 3 more times. And as always, you can always find these workouts in the FitCycle app. There's a $10 off code. I'll put everything in the link below. Please feel free to hit the subscribe button, like this video, and comment and let me know what other videos you want to see, or if you have any questions about this workout at all.